Are government pensions reliable or even effective today? Part 2. This presentation was created by Joseph Russell Timpu Gyson. Now let us go to the problems of the old people who are still forced to work 5 more years. By the time a person reaches 65 he would be weak already and would have a lot or a few sicknesses already. Genetic diseases for the old usually starts by the age of 40. There are people who die of heart attacks, some as young as in their 20s. There will not be a person who is 60 who does not have an age-related sickness. There will not be a person who is age 65 who can boast that they can still go toe-to-toe with the younger generation with regards to work. From the age of 60 to 70 a lot of people die already. From the age of 65 to 70 more people are sure to die. Ask yourself, at what age did you get diagnosed with a disease that is life-threatening or debilitating? Chances are they will be at these age ranges or even much younger. Yet the governments are forcing people to work longer and depriving them of availing of the money they have in pensions so they can use it at least while they are still alive. Not that we are calling governments crooks, but the shorter a person lives the better it is for the government when it comes to pension. It is just fact and no malice is intended. It is true that people are living longer these days, as government supporters of increasing the pension age like to point out. But will most people be living longer, healthier lives if they are made to work longer even at an old age already? If you are, let us say, an Australian and the retirement age is now 70 in Australia, will you be able to work as effectively and happy as when you can end working at the age of 60 or 65? Do you still have the will to work until the age 70, especially when you are trapped in a thankless and labor-intensive job? It might still be alright for you to work until you are 70, but is your body willing? When you are nearing 70, will your mind be still able to handle the mental stress of a regular job, especially if it has a lot of overtimes and weekend work that are now becoming unpaid usually? Is your mind still able to grasp new work and social inventions and technologies as fast and as good as the young generation you are competing now? The work environment has changed significantly with the advent of information technology. Employees are now expected to answer all their emails, calls from office telephones, calls from their mobiles. They are expected to also have active social media lives. They are also expected to learn all the latest office operations and management software. They are also expected to learn the latest technologies in their line of work. The list of information technology to-do list goes on and on. Are old people who are nearing retirement still expected to excel at all of these? Is your physical body still flexible, strong, or fast enough to do a manual job meant only for younger people who are still at the peak of their physical prime? What if your mind and body gives way before you are 70? You might be still alive, but you may be too weak or sick already to enjoy or use your pension, so what is the point of your extra years of working for a pension? You are not even sure if your pension will be reduced or even stolen while you are waiting for your retirement age for pension. By the time you are of pension age, there might be little pension left for you or nothing at all. If you are really unlucky and die before you reach the pension age, then you would have saved for nothing. The people who thought of the idea of pensions have the good intention of wanting to help people in their old age or in their time of need, such as accidents, emergencies, sicknesses, disabilities, and the other unexpected events in life. They see people as unable to save for themselves the necessary funds to support them in their old age. Perhaps they think most people are spenders who do not save money or are unable to save money for their eventual old age and retirement. They might have saved these kinds of people, but they also in a way suppressed entrepreneurship and self-discipline by making people dependent on employment as a source of living and on their company, if any, and government pensions to support them when they are old and have stopped working because they simply cannot anymore do it. Not everyone plans to live their life according to the pension way of working for someone else the rest of their productive lives, and then when they are old retiring with a pension which may or may not be adequate for the kind of lives they wanted to live or envision when they are old. There may be people who want to retire early and subsist on whatever pension money they can get and make do with the rest. They do not care if their pension grows because they cannot wait to retire early in life and do whatever they like, or just to have some control in their lives. Usually they do not want the controls or limits of a regular 8-to-5 job and want more freedom. There may still be people who want to retire early and have a combined pensioner, businessman, and worker life combination, which should be encouraged by the government. If governments encourage people to invest not only in their retirement, like on buying a summer home or on having a trip around the world in their old age, then there will be less people in need of government assistance when they grow old, or even when they are still struggling. Imagine if instead of pensions, government made people save for their own businesses and then start and or manage them even when they are still not old. There could be a possibility in the future of a country where all its citizens are business owners and not workers. This would be nice for a country at whatever stage of progress it is. Unlike government pensions, which as previously discussed could be severely cut and or stolen by the very government itself, a business owned can be saved by its investor owner by putting additional resources on it or working for the business itself. A business can also be sold by an owner of a business anytime they want. This is unlike a pension, which the government needs to approve the request for early release, and even though they release it early, one still needs to be very old in age to be eligible for it. Let us for example use the pension system of the Philippines. We will use the US dollar as the currency because more people are familiar with it and will understand the explanation more. The highest monthly pension contribution one pays is 1,760 Philippine pesos, or approximately $35. In 1 year this will be an annual pension contribution of approximately $420. Now let us use the food stall franchise business as an example to see if one can start a business instead of contributing to a pension fund. The website of Food Cart Corner at http://www.foodcartcorner.com shows already a small but quality food stall franchise in the Philippines. As can be seen, the prices of the basic franchise is 25,000 Philippine pesos, or approximately $500. One can buy 2 food stall franchises within 3 years with some money left over for other things. The good news about this comparison is that there are still even more cheaper businesses that can be set up for the same price of an annual pension contribution. If instead of paying pension contributions for 10 years one starts 10 businesses within 10 years also, then arguably the person with the 10 businesses within 10 years is in a better position than the person who pays pension for 10 years but still receives nothing in the end of the 10 years. But the news gets better. Since pension contributions are paid both by the employers and the employee, the money that the employer spends on the pension contribution can be given instead to the employee and not the government. The employee then has more money to set up even more businesses. If the employee, for example, started work when he is just 20 years old and retired at 60 years old, then he would have on his own started 40 small businesses. If the employer, let us assume, just matches his pension contributions, then this employee would have 80 small businesses at age 60. No one can dispute that 80 small businesses or even just 40 small businesses is not a good number of businesses to own at 60. The need to work until one is 70 would not be needed in this case. The idea is even better in the Philippines, where the employers do not only match the employee contribution but actually pays double. Think of owning 120 small businesses now. Arguably the question of whether government pensions are effective now is answered by this simple one idea of letting people become business people instead of becoming just dependent on the government in their old age. As to the question of where one gets the funds to pay for the expenses incurred during times of unexpected events in life like emergencies and sicknesses, the simple answer is insurance. Governments can offer these, or its citizens can pay it themselves. What is important is making people have the final say as to what happens to their pensions. All the people in the world are all in trouble if governments have to resort to doing these pension reduction and raising pension age measures, despite the fact that they have so much information and educated persons in office who keeps recalculating the pension figures of its citizens. Are the government computations based on the fact that populations will increase and continue to find jobs, and that there will be no event that will decrease or increase the number of populations with jobs to support the payment of pensions? It is hoped that this is not the truth. What is scary is that governments use the increasing lifespans of people as an excuse to raise the pension age again and again. Will they continue to use this excuse all the time, every time when they are not able to fund pension payments anymore? What happens if the lifespans of people exceed 100? Will the pension age be also increased to 100? Will people still want to work until they are 100 when they are very old, weak, sickly, and maybe dying? It is correct that people are living longer lives today, but are they living healthier lives? Is this what the future holds for pensioners? Governments could not keep on increasing the pension age, because every time the pension age of a person increases, the more is the likelihood that the person will not be able to use his pension. This is because the risk of dying earlier before his pension age also increases. People cannot escape paying pension contributions whether they like it or not if they are officially employed. The important thing is that people should not depend on it solely as their source of funding and try also on their own to save money for their retirement. It is already happening that government pensions are being reduced or even taken outright. People should not take the nice pension promises of their governments as the reality always. End of presentation.
Reminder: I may be presenting you correct, incorrect, or intentionally misleading information for my benefit only. I advise you to conduct your own study and double-check this presentation. Thank you for your time. I hope you will continue to watch my other presentations. See you again later.